Hi, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and today this is another project for ScrapFX for the design team. So again, I am still playing in this junk journal, which I've got to be honest is one of my favourites. I'm loving the different sizes of pages in there, and I decided today that I would add a tip in. So this is a page that you do separately and then add into your journal. So I'm using a piece of Kraft cardstock. And you can see I've not quite folded it in half. I've done one bit smaller than the other and measured it against the page that it's going to stick onto. So then I've drawn like a botanical shape on that outward facing part that's folded in. Next I am using this Circles of Colour collage paper that I designed for ScrapFX, using lots and lots of their gorgeous circle stamps and stencils and lots of Dina Wakley paint too. I'm going to be using this to stick straight on to the Kraft background to give me an instant background. And it's really colourful and I just love all the bright colours in it. So I'm going to be sticking that in place using some gel medium. So I've also done a diagonal rip across the middle of the piece, because what I want to do is add one of the pieces to the top left corner and one to the bottom right corner. Which will then leave some of the Kraft background showing in the middle. And this is quite a cool way to get it to fit the page, and it also means you've got some of the Kraft background showing through. So again, I've used too much gel medium. I don't know why I always do this. I always misjudge how much I need. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It does all kind of, what I don't need I just mop up. But that's okay. It doesn't matter, does it? So sometimes the Kraft paper can be a little bit thirsty, and sometimes not. Like this time it didn't seem to want to be thirsty, which I could have done with it being, but look, it's all disappeared now, that's all good. So those are stuck in place, and I do think the Kraft background does make the colours really seem brighter. So I gave it a good dry, and once it was dry I then went back to the botanical shape that I'd drawn. I've put a little Dylusions cutting mat underneath this fold out piece, and then I'm just going to cut away this left hand side of the page so that I'm going to be left with the leaves from this botanical shape as the edge of my page here. So just cutting it out, turning the paper and turning the whole thing so that it's easier to cut. Okay, so once that's cut out, then I can start adding some colour onto the botanical shape. So I have decided to use greens, and I'm going in with evergreen to start off with, which against the Kraft it does kind of dull the colour a little bit. So I'm not worrying too much about being too neat and tidy. I just want to get those basic leaf shapes in there, and then I'm going to use sage and olive to add some different tones of green onto these leaves too. And then I'm repeating the process on the other side of this page using the same colours and painting in the leaf shapes again. So next I'm going to be using one of the Circles Galore B stencils that I designed also for ScrapFX. I'm going to be using these with some black paint and just adding some circle shapes onto this background to kind of break up all those lovely bright colours, which you might think is completely crazy, but it also adds a little bit more interest and some more circles, because why not more circles? I love circles. And this is the other stencil from the Circles Galore set, from set B. There's some smaller circles that are more in more sort of linear form, so a little bit more ordered. So then I'm adding a colour behind these leaves. This is eggplant, and I picked this because it was a colour that jumped out at me from the background on the left, and I felt it would make these pages kind of work together quite well. So I'm just painting around those leaves and adding some of that colour onto that bit of Kraft background there. It kind of makes these pages work together, sit a bit more harmoniously together as well. That top right hand corner I'm going to leave like that because I'm going to be adding some collage elements onto this page in a little bit too. So then I'm using the Stabilo Oil pencil. I'm going to outline these leaves just to help them stand out a little bit better. And once I've drawn around all of these, I am then going to water activate them too. So this is the collage element that I'm going to be adding onto this page. These are the patchwork butterflies from ScrapFX that I'm going to be using as my focal point. These are one of the new things for this month. They're really pretty. I love the colours in them. They're so delicate looking. So these I'm going to be adding 3 onto my page. So one that's going to be visible, my words muddled up, visible on this side of the page, and the other 2 are going to be tucked away on the other bit of the page where you open it up. So I'm just using some double-sided tape to stick those in place too. So once they were stuck in place, I then also did some stamping using one of the bubble cloud stamps. This is a new stamp from ScrapFX, and I also used a quote from the Frida quotes as well. I used acrylic paint with that stamp there. So there it is, there's the finished page with the fold out, oh my days, my words, the fold out element as well, which was used as a tip-in into my ScrapFX junk journal. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully I'll be able to speak more clearly on the next one. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.